What's up, you guys? SlimXTeamSymmetry here to bring you guys a new video today, and I'm here to do a side decking video for the current meta. I know in the past I've usually done these videos in real life with like the real cards. Once again, though, I've lent out a lot of these cards to my friends and people I play with because their side decks are different than mine. I am currently running E-Dragons myself, trying to get the hang of the deck. So a lot of these cards, outside of some of the obvious ones, are not in my side decks. I've lent them out and stuff. But I just wanted to make this video for you guys today because I've been getting a lot of requests, either via Facebook or on even on here, like when I've been on DN, people message me like, can you make a video on how to side deck for the current meta? And I literally just was thinking of all the things that I've seen in side decks, all the different card choices people are using, card choices that are pretty obvious, some that aren't so obvious, and just being able to combat against the top three decks of the format right now. Top three decks being, as you guys already know, Elemental Dragons, Prophecy, and Evil Swarm. And I know everyone's going to say, you get a side deck for water, you get a side deck for all the other rogue decks, and that's very true. A lot of these cards, though, do handle those decks as well. These are just 24 cards that I could remember off the top of my head that I've seen in side decks or tried side decking myself in order to combat the meta. So I'm just going to get into them, and we'll start with, like, the very basics. So the number one deck, hands down, is Elemental Dragons. The deck is ridiculous. I don't need to tell you guys. You've heard it from everyone else here on YouTube how destructive the deck is, how ridiculous it is. They can just overextend. You kill their field, they just bring the field right back. Drago Sack is the absolute nuts, etc., etc. So these are just some cards that you guys should know that are good against the deck. So people say Banish is good against the deck. I don't really agree with that. I feel that it's decent, it helps, but there's a lot of ways that the deck can get around it, especially if you draw this after they've resolved a Drago Sack. But this is a card you can use against water as well, so it's a pretty versatile card. It's just a card someone wanted me to throw in here, so I did throw it in here. Other cards, though, that are more efficient against the deck. Electric Virus is good for multiple reasons. Electric Virus is ridiculous because not only does it take a dragon, it can also take a machine. So if they do resolve a Drago Sack, and unfortunately you don't have something to stop it, you can literally just Electric Virus it and just take it, and then they literally, you can do whatever you want with it, depending on if it's in the mirror match, if it's in any kind of match, you can just, take it and then use its effect, get tokens, I don't know, pop stuff, pop itself, you can do crazy stuff like that. Another card that I actually just thought of right now because of that basis is Cyber Dragon, because you can literally just go, okay, they go turn one Drago Sack, tokens, end turn, you go, okay, summon Cyber Dragon, contact, well, you can summon Cyber Dragon, attack a token, contact with Drago Sack, and there you go, Drago Sack problem averted. So Cyber Dragon is definitely another really good card. It's good against a lot of decks in the format just because it's big. A 2100 beater is pretty big, but that's just something I thought of because you can just contact for Chimera Tech. Other cards that are good against the deck, Fossil Dyna. Fossil Dyna is really good just because it means Fossil Dyna. You summon it, protect it. You can't special summon. It's like, well, damn. It's like it's like Jowgen when spellbooks drop Jowgen. It's just like just like a big middle finger to the whole deck. It's like, what am I supposed to do? If you don't have a baby to run it over or something, you're not gonna have a good time because a Fossil Dyna really just puts in a lot of work. It's good against a lot of decks too because you can set it. If your opponent overextends, gets greedy, attacks into it, boom, there goes their whole field. So Fossil Dyna is just a really solid card in general. Kaiku has been getting a lot of buzz lately, and for good reason. This card is really good. This card was broken when Chaos Dragons were around because this literally was a lockdown to that deck. The main thing that this card is used for, I heard a lot of different channels talking about this, is that the Dragon player will get to a point where they're down to maybe one or two cards in hand, and basically they're relying on their graveyard to summon their dragons. Well, you summon Kaiku, and it makes it that your opponent can't banish cards from either player's graveyard. So that means they cannot special summon the dragons from grave through that effect. So literally, if they don't have a way to summon a dragon from their hand, they're not going to be able to get past whatever you have on the field. Plus, Kaiku can banish stuff, and I mean that's pretty good. Uh, you know, Not so great. Like they'd be able to add the baby dragons to hand, but it's just the fact of that lockdown effect it has against the deck. So Kaiku's just a really solid card, and I know that Prophecy players are starting to main deck it as an anti-out to the deck, and it's in addition to Jowgen, which just shits on the whole deck. Other cards that are good outs to that deck. Um, Swiss Scarecrow. Swiss Scarecrow is interesting because this was a card I was originally main decking in my build of E-Dragons. I wanted to because I'd seen a couple of people doing it. I saw it in the OCG, and it made perfect sense to me. When you're playing the mirror match or playing against water or decks that just want to OTK you, this is an OTK stopper. You stop the OTK and then you make your push back, and hopefully your push is stronger than theirs so that you end up, ahead, or you end up winning because of it. So this was a really interesting card because not only that, but you could banish it for redox. So that was something that I really liked. And you can do the same thing with Max C, but Swift Scarecrow is just really cool. I think it's more of a side deck card for Elemental Dragons and decks that you're playing against a deck that OTKs you. Like I said, like Water or Dragons, and I mean this is like an out to it, and then you can hopefully make a counter punch the next turn. So really interesting card. And the last one, monster wise for E-Dragons, is Vanity's Fiend. This is mostly for the mirror match. This is mostly for. It's good against so many decks. It's good against that deck. It's good against water. It's good against so many decks because so many decks special summon. You guys already know it's broken in the mirror match. If you like get a Drago Sack out and then tribute a token for Vanity's Fiend, you pretty much win because I mean, what are they gonna do? There's not a lot they can do to that. So Vanity's Fiend is just a really good card in general. Pretty self-explanatory. So that's it monster-wise for like being able to stop dragons. Other things, a deck lockdown. This has been getting a lot of buzz. I mean, a lot of buzz. A lot of channels are talking about this card. And I didn't want to make a single video on this card as like a tech for thought because it would be like, well, duh, that's obvious. Because a lot of people were hyping the card up. But this card's really good. They're not able to add cards from their add cards from their hand except by drawing. Cannot special summon monster cards from the deck. This card's good. It's good against Prophecy. I heard it's good against dragons. It's just it's anything to slow down fast decks is really good. It's just a very versatile card that I've seen a lot of people citing. So it's definitely a card to look into that I really like. That Dimensional Fissure, basically, on the same thing as Banisher, Macrocosmos. It's just so that you can't really discard the babies or anything to get the initial summons from the deck off, so that really does hurt a lot. And this is faster than macro, but macro banishes everything, so macro's better because you can chain it. But this is just an interesting card. Compulse is good. A lot of people were talking about Compulse too. Compulse's comeback into Yu-Gi-Oh! Because there was a brief period of time where people weren't using it, myself included, but I remember it just always been just a very versatile card, just a really good card in general. And you're able to compulse a Big Eye, you're able to compulse Drago Sack, you're able to compulse stuff that gets in your way before they resolve their effects. So I think that Compulse is just really good. It's good in a lot of other matches too. So Compulse is just a pretty versatile card in general right now in the meta. The obvious Gozen match, Rivalry of Warlords. Gozen match is better just for the fact that you can only control one attribute, and I mean they're the elemental dragons, so they're like every attribute. So Gozen match really does hurt that deck a lot. Having to like summon two Tempest sucks, or having to summon, if you have to summon two Tempest and then you try to make Drago Sack, I mean that's good because I mean Drago Sack being wind is a blessing at times, but uh at times you just don't have those plays. So Gozen Match can really be a problem for the deck, especially when you're trying to make a push. They flip Gozen Match and your push pretty much gets stopped. So Gozen Match is a really good card. Rivalry is good too. I heard a couple people saying that it's good because they're not able to go into Drago Sack. They can only XYZ summon into dragons. So pretty much that's a lockout to Drago Sack into a lot of the XYZs like Big Eye and whatnot. So Rivalry is another really good card. I know Prophecies use Rivalry. And Rival is really good against Evil Sworns as well. Other cards, Imperial Iron Wall, self-explanatory. Can't remove cards from play, so you really can't summon a lot of your dragons outside of the baby effect. So, card's really good. Cosmos I've already talked about. Mind Drain, another interesting card. Being able to stop the effects that activate in hand. So Mind Drain puts in work. Same with Soul Drain. Both of these cards work in conjunction with each other in order to shut down the graveyard, shut down the hand, shut down pretty much everything, so that E-Dragons can't really get things going. And then Vanity's Emptiness. This card is just the freaking nuts. Like a lot of people have been picking up on this card because basically it's just like neither player can special summon monsters. Like they go reborn, they go whatever, you just flip this card and they can't do it. And I mean, in order to send it from they got to send it to the graveyard. And I mean, E-Dragons don't really run a a real destruction of back row outside of heavy and outside of the blaster effects. Like if you don't have those cards, it's pretty hard to get this card off the field. So this is another really good tech card. And then that's pretty much it for E-Dragons. A lot of this is self-explanatory. On to Prophecies real quick. The ever-present Joel and Lockbird, self-explanatory. The card's just really, really good. Other outs to Prophecy. An interesting one is Spell Canceller. This was a card I heard about. I heard people were side decking this. I heard Monarchs were side decking this, main decking this, just to be as like an auto out to spell books because they're all spells. This doesn't stop them from revealing 3 to summon Priestess, so I don't know how solid it is. I just wanted to throw it in there just because it's an old card that a lot of people forgot about. Just an interesting card. Granted, it sucks to have to tribute for only an 1800, but when you're going against Prophecy, being able to stop spells is just, it's game ending, so the card's really good. Deck lockdown, pretty self-explanatory. It hurts them again because they can't add cards to their hand except by drawing. So pretty much locks out the spell books and everything for 2 turns. So that card's really good. Um, EEV wins the game. End of story. The card just wins the game. Resolve EEV, call spells. Very hard for you to lose at that point unless like you just don't draw anything and they start to get their spells back after 3 turns. But I would think that EEV would just flat out win the game. Other cards, Imperial Iron Wall can hurt them. I heard like they have to banish some spell books, but I don't think it's that good. Yeah, those are just like the basic things against spell books. Joel and Logbird and EEV are just the best. Like self-explanatory. They really just are the best cards against that deck. Outside of other tech choices, because I know I haven't listed. There's no way I've listed all the side deck cards people are side decking. I know there's a lot of cards that I'm missing, but these are just like I said, the cards I remember. And then of course against Evil Sworn, which I think Evil Sworn is the best anti-meta deck of the format, hands down. The deck is ridiculous. Little cards, Consecrated Light. I remember I made a video on this. People brought up a good point though. I can just summon a rabbit and get over it. That's true. You only have 2 rabbits in the deck, so I mean, outside of that, I really don't know. Consecrated Light is interesting, but it's not, I would say, as solid as I originally thought. I think there's a lot better outs to the deck. Other outs to the deck can be Exploder Dragon. Exploder Dragon, hopefully like ram into it, and hopefully they don't have a D Prisoner or Mare Force or whatever, or they just set it, they attack into it, kill Ophion. Ophion is just a problem for a lot of decks. Same with Fossil Dyna, flip, kill Ophion. Medion. As long as they don't have a D prison, Medion is the nuts, literally. Penguin Soldier is like the best card ever just because it's Penguin Soldier and it just bounces cards. Overextend, bounce them back. Pretty self-explanatory. Compulse, not really. They just, Pandemic. It can be a lot. But I know Rivalry. Really, really hurts them because, not Rivalry. Is it only one type? Yeah, because they're all different types. Like, they're all different types, like Mandragora and Thunderbird and Caster, like all different types. So Rivalry can really screw up the deck a lot. But yeah, this is just my general thoughts on what I think side decking for the current meta should be. Let me know what your thoughts below. I really want to open up the comments to that people will just comment below with the many cards I'm sure I've forgotten. These are only just 25 cards I can think of at the top of my head that are the best cards against the meta right now. Let me know what you guys think. If I forgot anything, please, include it in the comments below. If you want to make a response video, feel free to do so. I just felt like making this video for you guys today, and I hope that it answered a lot of your questions on how to play against the current format of Yu-Gi-Oh! So hopefully you guys will thumbs it up, enjoy it, and thank you for watching.